Welcome to the channel, Coin Lovers. Today, we're diving into the world of Lincoln Wheat Pennies, those small copper treasures that might be sitting right in your change jar, but could be worth surprising money. We'll explore the 1946, 1950D, 1952, 1953D, and 1955 D 1-cent coins and find out which ones could make your pocket change truly valuable. So stay tuned till the end. The 1946 1-cent coin, often called the Lincoln Wheat Cent or Wheat Penny, holds a special place in American numismatic history. It was struck after the end of World War II, during a period of great transition in the United States economy and coinage system. The 1946 penny continued the legacy of the Lincoln Wheat design that began in 1909, featuring the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks on the reverse. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin remains one of the most recognized and collected coins in U.S. history. The 1946 cent was made primarily of bronze, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, returning to its pre-war metal composition after the temporary steel cents of 1943. The obverse of the 1946 Lincoln cent displays a familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head appears the motto, "In God We Trust," while to the left is the word liberty. The year 1946 is inscribed to the right of Lincoln's portrait, and if the coin was struck at the Denver or San Francisco Mint, it bears a small D or S mint mark just below the date. The reverse of the coin features two stylized wheat ears curving inward along the sides, enclosing the denomination 1 cent and the inscription United States of America. Above them is a Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, one. This design represented agricultural prosperity and national unity, themes that resonated deeply with the American public during the post-war years. The 1946 Lincoln cent was produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia mint produced a majority, with over 991 million coins struck. The Denver Mint contributed around 315 million pieces, and the San Francisco Mint added approximately 198 million more. Combined, over 1.5 billion 1946 pennies were minted, making it one of the most common issues of the entire wheat cent series. Despite this large mintage, many collectors still seek high-quality examples, especially those with sharp details and full original red color. After the war, the U.S. Mint resumed using the standard bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc for cents, replacing the zinc-coated steel used in 1943. The 1946 cents were therefore struck from the same composition as most earlier wheat cents, giving them a warm reddish-brown tone when new. Over time, however, exposure to air and handling often turned the coins to shades of brown or dark chocolate, and many circulated examples show significant wear. The average 1946 cent in circulation today has lost much of its original luster, though uncirculated examples still display a bright coppery red color. Collectors often classify 1946 cents into 3 primary color designations: red RD, red-brown RB, and brown BN. Red coins retain most of their original copper brilliance and are the most desirable, particularly in higher grades. Red-brown coins show a mix of original red luster and brown toning, while brown coins have fully oxidized surfaces with little or no red remaining. The value of the coin heavily depends on this color distinction, as well as on its grade and mint mark. For example, a 1946 Lincoln cent from the Philadelphia Mint in average circulated condition may only be worth a few cents, but high-grade red specimen S mint mark was struck more than once and shows overlapping impressions. Off-center strikes, clip planchets, and die cracks also occasionally occur and can add collectible value depending on their visual appeal and rarity. Because of the high mintage, most 1946 cents are easily obtainable in circulated grades, but finding flawless mint state coins without contact marks or spots can be challenging. The 1946 D and 1946 S cents tend to come with good luster, but sometimes exhibit weak strikes in Lincoln's hair or the wheat lines. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint are often slightly sharper overall, though they lack a mint mark. Some collectors specialize in collecting complete sets of Lincoln Wheat cents, which spanned from 1909 to 1958, and the 1946 issue is a common yet essential part of this historical series. The year 1946 marked the most surviving 1946 cents fall within the fine F to extremely fine XF range, showing moderate wear but retaining clear details. Uncirculated coins, graded from MS 60 to MS 67 or higher, are prized by collectors. Coins that have been professionally graded and encapsulated by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC often command higher prices, especially if they retain full original red color and have no spots, carbon stains, or surface marks. A typical 1946 Philadelphia cent in average circulated condition may be worth only 2 to 5 cents, while a 1946 D or 1946 S in similar condition holds roughly the same value. However, fully read, uncirculated pieces graded their common date. Because the 1946 penny was struck in such large numbers, it remains a popular choice for new collectors beginning a Lincoln cent collection. Many people find them in old coin jars, inherited collections, or mixed lots of wheat cents. Its age, combined with its connection to the post-war era, gives it a historical charm even if its monetary value is modest. Some collectors appreciate the subtle differences in color, luster, and strike between coins from each mint, while others seek era varieties to add interest to their sets. As coins from heavily used dies can show mushy details or flow lines that reduce visual appeal. Historically, the Lincoln cent design has undergone only minor changes since 1909, and the 1946 issue represents the classic mid-century example. The wheat reverse will continue until 1958, after which it was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Thus, the 1946 coin stands as part of the long and beloved wheat cent era, which many consider one of the most artistic and enduring coin designs in U.S. history. The combination of Lincoln's dignified portrait and the symbolic wheat ears captured the essence of American resilience and prosperity during a time of rebuilding. In modern collecting and educational pieces, the 1946 Lincoln cent, though common, carries historical depth. It represents the first full year after the end of World War II, when the United States was transitioning into a global superpower. Millions of these pennies circulated in the pockets of Americans during a time of optimism, economic expansion, and social change. It witnessed the post-war baby boom, the growth of industry, and the dawn of a new technological age. Holding a 1946 penny is like holding a small piece of American history, a simple coin that connects to an era of hope and rebuilding. Even today, collectors continue to treasure the 1946 1-cent coin, not only for its numismatic interest, but for its connection to the story of America itself. Whether found in change, purchased from a dealer, or passed down through generations, each 1946 penny serves as a reminder how even the smallest coin can carry a wealth of history and meaning. Next, we have the 1950 D Wheat Penny, minted in Denver. The 1950 D Lincoln Wheat Cent is one of the most interesting coins in a long and beloved series of Lincoln cents that began in 1909. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin carries a small D mint mark below the date, signifying its origin. Though it may appear to be an ordinary penny to the casual eye, collectors know that the 1950 D cent holds a special place in numismatic history for its quality of striking, its minting conditions, and its role in the economic and cultural environment of post-World War II America. The coin was made primarily of bronze, an alloy of copper, tin, and zinc, which gives its distinctive reddish-brown hue. Specifically, the composition was 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc combined. It weighed 3.11 grams and measured 19 millimeters in diameter, the standard for all Lincoln cents of that period. The edge was plain with no reading, as has been typical for all 1-cent coins since the series began. The obverse of the coin features a familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, who originally created this portrait in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The design remained largely unchanged in 1950, showing Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty to the left and the date 1950 to the right. Below the date, the small d mint mark identifies the Denver Mint. Above Lincoln's head are the words "In God We Trust," the national motto of the United States. This portrait of Lincoln, simple yet dignified, captures his strength and compassion, and has become one of the most enduring and iconic designs in American coinage. Brenner's initials VDB, which were removed shortly after the first 1909 release, were reintroduced in 1918 in smaller form and appear on the shoulder of Lincoln on the obverse side. On the reverse, the 1950 D wheat cent displays two stylized wheat ears curving inward from both sides of the coin. Between them at the center are the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above these inscriptions is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This design, known as the wheat ears reverse, was also created by Brenner and remained on the Lincoln cent until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The wheat ears design symbolizes agricultural prosperity and the nation's strength and unity. The lines of the wheat stalks and the lettering often display the sharpness or softness of the coin strike, which collectors use to judge quality and grading. In circulation, however, the quality of strike and the preservation of coins in mint condition can make certain examples highly desirable among collectors. Many 1950 D cents were well struck with strong details, especially on Lincoln's hair and the wheat lines on the reverse. Denver had developed a reputation for producing sharp, well-made coins in the mid-20th century, and the 1950 D cent is an excellent example of that craftsmanship. When the coin was first released into circulation, it was used in everyday commerce without fanfare. People spent these pennies in grocery stores, diners, and gas stations without realizing that, decades later, collectors would seek them out in high grades. In circulated condition, 1950 D cents are abundant and carry minimal premium over face value. However, in uncirculated varying degrees of wear on Lincoln's hair and cheek, as well as flattening of the wheat stalks on the reverse. Uncirculated examples are graded from MS-60 up to MS-70, though perfect MS-70 examples are virtually unheard of. Collectors pay special attention to the luster, color, and strike quality. The color designation is particularly important for copper coins like the 1950. D-cent coins are graded as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, based on the amount of original copper luster that remains. A full red coin with bright mint color and no toning is significantly more valuable than one that is darkened over time. One of the intriguing aspects of the 1950 D wheat cent is the presence of certain varieties and errors that occurred during the minting process. Like many coins of this era, minor die variations can make a big difference in collector value. Some of the known varieties include defined repunch mint mark, can raise the value considerably over that of a normal 1950 D cent. Over the years, the 1950 D Lincoln cent has become a staple for collectors assembling complete sets of Lincoln Wheat cents, which span from 1909 to 1958. While it is not considered a key date in the series, it serves as an important coin for completing the collection, especially in high mint state grades. Because of its large mintage, finding a circulated example is easy, but securing one in pristine condition with full red luster can be challenging, which adds to its appeal for advanced collectors. In terms of market value, the 1950 D cent typically sells for only a few cents, in reflecting the enduring collector interest in superb early Lincoln Wheat cents. Auction records have shown that buyers are willing to pay significant premiums for coins with exceptional luster, clean surfaces, and eye-catching color. The 1950 D cent also has a nostalgic charm. It reminds many collectors of the post-war American era, a time of optimism and progress. Lincoln's portrait on the coin served as a symbol of unity and integrity, and his inclusion on the cent was deeply meaningful for Americans of that generation. The design remained unchanged through decades, representing stability in a rapidly changing world. The coin circulated widely through the 1950s and 1960s, passing through countless hands before collectors began pulling them from circulation as the wheat cent design neared its end in 1958. With original red color, the production process at the Denver Mint in 1950 reflected the industrial precision of its time. Planchets were cut from copper sheets, washed, and annealed to soften the metal before striking. Dies engraved with the Lincoln and wheat designs were carefully prepared, though occasional imperfections could lead to the era varieties now prized by collectors. Once struck, coins were inspected, counted, and bagged for shipment to banks across the western and midwestern United States. The attention to detail and mechanical consistency of the mint's operations contributed to the overall high quality of the 1950 D-cent compared with some earlier and later issues. As a collectible today, the 1950 D wheat cent represents both history and craftsmanship. It tells a story of American industry, the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and the enduring fascination with small artifacts of the past. Though not rare in the absolute sense, its survival in perfect condition connects us to a time when each cent held real purchasing power and tangible meaning. For the collector, the joy lies not only in the coin's material value, but also in its connection to history and its role in a broader numismatic journey. Overall, the 1950 D. Lincoln Wheat cent stands as a symbol of mid-century America, simple, durable, and full of character. From its bright copper luster when newly struck to its rich brown patina after decades of circulation, every example carries traces of its journey through time. Whether found in a roll of old pennies or a showcase in a collector's album, this coin continues to fascinate and educate, preserving a small yet vivid piece of the nation's story. In the year 1952, the United States Mint produced a 1-cent piece known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent or Wheat Penny, which carries the date 1952 and belongs to the long-running series of cents introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. This coin continues a design by sculptor Victor D. Brenner and a reverse design of 2 wheat stalks flanking the denomination, a design motif that had been used continuously from 1909 until 1958. In that year, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design. The 1952 coin thus represents a mature stage of the wheat cent series, both technically stable and numerically abundant. The obverse of the coin features the bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, the legend, "In God We Trust," above his head, and to the left is profiled the word liberty. To the right of the bust is the date 1952. Depending on the mint facility, the coin may also carry a mint mark, see below. The reverse shows the denomination 1 cent in large capital letter center field, below which is United States of America. On the upper rim is the motto E Pluribus Unum. On either side of the central inscriptions one finds stylized ears of wheat, hence the common nickname wheat cent. The coin has a plain, smooth edge. The diameter is approximately 19.00 millimeters, and the weight about 3.11 grams, according to standard references. The metal composition for this period is bronze, specifically 95% copper, with the balance 5% comprised of tin and zinc to harden the alloy. These specifications align with the general composition of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series before the change to copper-plated zinc in the early 1980s. Mintages in 1952 were quite large across 3 U.S. mint facilities. According to published figures, for the Philadelphia facility, no mint mark, the mintage was approximately 186,775,000 coins. For the Denver facility, mint mark D, the mintage was around 746,130,000 coins. For the San Francisco facility, mint mark S, the mintage was about 137,800,004 coins. In addition, there were proof coins produced, mintage of 81,980, at Philadelphia. These large figures reflect the post-war era when pennies circulated heavily and large numbers were required for commerce. Because of these high mintages, the 1952 Lincoln Wheat Cent is considered a common date in numismatic terms. Coin-collecting monthly newspaper Numismatic News was established in that year, indicating that the market and the hobby were reaching broader awareness. The design of the wheat cent had become familiar and stable. There were no major changes in the cent's design or composition in 1952. The economy was post-World War II, with coinage production at high levels to meet the demands of commerce, and the penny was still firmly part of everyday circulation. Because pennies of that era circulated widely, many show wear, but the ones that have survived in better condition are of interest to collectors. Design-wise, the decision to feature Abraham Lincoln in profile on the cent was originally made in 1909, on the centennial of his birth, replacing the Indian head cent that had been struck since 1859. The two ears of wheat design on the reverse symbolize America's agricultural foundation and prosperity. By 1952, the aesthetic and technical design was well established. Minting processes had matured. Strikes tended to be consistent, though individual coins can show variation in strike quality, planchet quality, and surface condition. The presence of three mints adds minor variation. For example, slight differences in strike definition, the wheat stalks, or uncirculated, with original luster, minimal contact marks. Next is the color. Pennies struck before heavy circulation and oxidation often retain what collectors call red, or types for this date, compared to scarcer years, but die cracks, off-center strikes, double dies, planchet lamination defects still can occur in various specimens. For the 1952 San Francisco strike, 1952S, some coins are more weakly struck, which may affect their desirability among advanced collectors. The survival rate of high-grade examples is naturally much lower than total mintage because coins circulated heavily for decades. For example, the PCGS Coin Facts page for the 1952D shows a survival estimate of about 74 million examples of that type in all grades, but only about 10,000 in grade 60 or better, i.e. uncirculated, and about 5,000 in grade 65 or better. This rarity in high grade means that while many coins exist, truly exceptional ones are much scarcer and command premium pricing. Azford can command more due to its relatively lower mintage of 137.8 million compared to Denver's 746 million. In uncirculated, MS uncirculated condition, especially with full red color, important certificates indicate prices of US $1 and 50 cents to US $2 and 20 cents for 1952S in bright uncirculated condition at one point. On the very high end, exceptional specimens, for example, date/mint marks at right cents, while also offering the possibility of finding high-grade gems among the large population. Because it is common, one can often acquire a circulated example at low cost, but the challenge is to locate one with better color, minimal wear, strong strike, and possibly with a desirable mint mark. Many collectors aiming for sets in red. Because the coin remained in circulation for many years, many examples show where on Lincoln's cheek, jaw, and the wheat stalks on the reverse, where flattens the high points of the design. Thus, when grading, one must examine the sharpness of Lincoln's ear, hairlines, the edge of the coat, the wheat stalk detail. For example, the copper is prone to oxidation, which causes brown toning, and can suffer from cleaning, handling, and environmental damage. Collectors should store pennies like the 1952 Lincoln Wheat cent in inert flips or holders. Avoid exposure to humidity, extremes of temperature, sulfur, and aggressive chemicals. It is also advisable not to attempt cleaning the coin, as cleaning often diminishes numismatic value. Instead, preservation of original surfaces is key. Well-preserved, full red, nicely struck examples. For a collector in Pakistan or elsewhere, acquiring one in decent condition can serve as an accessible part of a U.S. Lincoln cent set, or a jumping-off point for exploring the broader wheat cent series, 1909198. When buying or evaluating, you should check date, mint mark, condition, wear strike, color originality of surfaces, no cleaning, no harsh toning, and whether the coin has been certified by a reputable grading service if you are seeking higher value. In your region, Pakistan, or via international purchase, pay attention to shipping, coin holder condition, certification authenticity, and provenance when obtaining a coin. A genuine 1952 Lincoln Wheat cent in typical circulated condition can often be acquired at modest cost, but high-grade, full red example with strong eye appeal commands higher value, and the premium increases significantly when certified to high-grade, MS65 plus or higher. If you are using this coin as part of a video or catalog of coins, given your interest in coin-related content, it offers a strong narrative. The design links back to Abraham Lincoln, the minting at 3 U.S. mints, the large post-war production, the collector interest in color and condition, and the possibility of finding high-grade gems despite large numbers. The coin under discussion is part of the long-running series of the Lincoln cent, sometimes called the Lincoln penny, which was first issued in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. The design features Lincoln on the obverse, And from 1909 through 1958, the reverse design was a wheat ears motif, the so-called wheat reverse 2 stylized wheat heads flanking the words 1 cent. And United States of America, the designer for both obverse and reverse, is Victor David Brenner. Over the decades, this coin went through only minor design changes until the reverse was changed in 1959 to the Lincoln Memorial motif. The 1953D issue thus belongs to the late wheat reverse era, 1909 to 1958, of the Lincoln cent. For the 1953D Lincoln cent, here are the main specifications. Denomination 1 cent 1 cent. Composition 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc. Weight approximately 3.11 grams. Diameter 19.00 millimeters. Edge plain, no reading. Mint mark D for the United States Mint Denver, located under the date on the obverse. Mintage for the Denver Mint in 1953, 700,515,000. Thus, the coin is physically the same size and composition as many earlier post-war wheat cents, but a particular mintage and mint mark give it its identity and collecting significance. Production and mintage details. In 1953, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln Wheat cents at 3 mint locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. According to sources, Philadelphia, 256,755,000 minted. Denver, 700,515,000 minted. San Francisco, 181,835,000 minted. Thus, the Denver minted 1953D is the highest mintage of the 3 common circulation varieties that year. Because of such a large mintage, many coins are available, and it is considered among the more common late wheat cent issues in terms of availability. Despite the high mintage, the coin still attracts interest because condition, color, red, red-brown, brown, and variety, mint mark or die errors affect value significantly. Obverse. The front side features a bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, the word Liberty to his left, the date 1953 to his right, and the mint mark D under the date for the Denver Mint. Above is the motto, "In God We Trust." Fine details of Lincoln's hair, the coat, and the bust are visible in well-struck examples. The reverse features the 2 stylized wheat ear motifs, one on each side with the inscriptions United States of America around the top, E pluribus unum near middle, and 1 cent center within the wheat. The wheat motif gives the nickname wheat penny. When examining a 1953D coin, look for the clarity in the wheat stalk lines, the sharpness of the wheat heads, the clarity of the mint mark D, and the color of the copper, whether original red or red-brown or brown original surfaces, with strong strike and luster are valued more. Varieties and notable features. While the date/mint mark designation 1953D is the primary identifier, within that there exists a number of minor die varieties and errors that collectors note. Some of the important details. There are repunched mint mark RPM varieties. For instance, the 1953D/D RPM FS501 in various finishes BN RB RD is listed. Varieties also include FS502, etc. Color designations. Collectors pay attention to the color and luster. The standard color codes for copper coins are BN brown, RB red-brown, and RD red. The red coins, with at least 95% of original red copper color, are most desirable. For the 1953D, the APMEX listing gives RD as the designation in one example. Errors. Although less dramatic for 1953 than for some other years, there are known error coins, off-center strikes, clip planchets, etc. One source mentions a famous error. The 1953D Lincoln cent struck on a silver dime planchet rare, which sold for over $1,000 in circulated condition. Because the mintage is high, most coins in normal circulated condition are. One can derive that in lower grades the coin is common. In high grades, mint state red, the number of survivors is far fewer. For instance, one example graded MS67RD was sold for $645 in June 2018 on eBay, for an example with strong luster and technical quality. Thus, for a video script, you might emphasize that though common in the sense of high mintage, the coin is not trivial in top condition, which opens a door for interesting finds, condition rarity, and stories of high-grade survivors. Market value, auction results, and collector demand. Because values vary widely with grade, color, strike, and variety, care must be taken. Some example value data. According to one listing AppMex, for 1953D red, RD and MS66 grade the value around $623. Auction records for high-end coins. The PCGS record page for 1953D lists auction record, but does not provide a figure in the snippet on the search result. In practice, for condition and color, a coin in circulated condition may be worth only face value or a small premium. Uncirculated and red coins, or exceptional examples, may command hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on grade. One blog states that a 1953D struck on a silver dime planchet fetched in excess of $1,000. When preparing content, you could show a table of values, for example, good to very good, a few. Mint mark location and identification. The Denver Mint Mark D under the date is a small but essential feature. Ensure it is genuine, not damaged or altered. If you're lucky enough to find an example with full red color RD, that will stand out. Many coins will have lost red color over decades of handling. Examine the wheat stalks on the reverse their detail, depth, separation, reputable grading services, e.g., Professional Coin Grading Service PCS or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation GC, and check population reports, saving potential and budgets. Because the basic circulated coin is inexpensive, you can collect these for relatively low costs, but also upgrades into red and high grade will require higher budgets. For your channel, you might suggest a grade up strategy. Buy a decent circulated coin, then gradually move up to AU/UNC RB to RD. Wheat penny interest. Explain to your audience that the Wheat Reverse Series, 1909 to 1958, has strong collector interest. The 1953D sits near the end of that era, which gives it more appeal for complete series collectors. Avoiding fake/altered coins, particularly for coins claiming full red or high grade. Check for signs of artificial toning, polishing, or color enhancement. Examples are still relatively rare in comparison to the total. This creates a big availability but big difference in quality scenario, ideal for collectors and for you as content creator. For your YouTube channel, you could emphasize the story behind the coin, its place in post-war America in 1953, the fact that by then millions of cents were produced, but how condition becomes a differentiator. You can show examples of worn coins versus crisp MSUNC coins, and talk about how a coin that might cost a few dollars in worn condition can jump to hundreds or more at full red and sharp. Also, you can highlight that the coin belongs to the long Lincoln series designed by Brenner, and that the wheat reverse design ended just a few years later, in 1959, when the mint switched designs. That historic context adds value in the eyes of collectors. The 1-cent coin from 1955 minted at the Denver Mint, commonly referred to as the 1955D Lincoln Wheat Penny, is a piece rich in numismatic interest and significance. In what follows, you will find a full, detailed, carefully written narrative covering its background, production, design, physical characteristics, varieties, survival and condition issues, current collector value and market behavior, how to identify genuine examples, known pitfalls and counterfeits, as well as its place in collecting in broader historical context. From a historical standpoint, the Lincoln Wheat Cent series began in 1909, introduced to mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, with a bust of Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stylized wheat stalks flanking the denomination on the reverse. Over the decades, it became one of America's most widely used small denominations, and into the 1950s, these coins had long been circulating. By 1955, the U.S. Mint produced several variations of the Lincoln Wheat Cent for that year. From the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. From the Denver Mint, D mint mark. And from the San Francisco Mint, S mint mark. In particular, for the 1955 D coin, the official mintage is given as 563,257,500 pieces. That very large number places it among the more common Lincoln Wheat Cents in terms of sheer quantity. In terms of its physical and design characteristics, the 1955 D Wheat Cent is of bronze composition, 95% copper, 5% tin plus zinc. Its diameter is approximately 19.009.05 mm, and its weight about 3.11 g. The edge is plain, i.e., no condition. Many of these coins circulated heavily, were worn, and in many cases have lost original mint luster, have faded color turning brown from the original reddish copper tone, or bear contact marks, nicks, scratches, etc. Because of that, pristine uncirculated coins are much more difficult to locate and command premiums. Color matters. Many coins show a brown tone BN or red-brown RB tone rather than the full original red tone RD of freshly minted bronze. Coins retaining significant original red copper tone are more desirable. Consistent with the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, there are die varieties and error varieties associated with 1955, though the most famous error is the Philadelphia double die. Not the Denver version, but the 1955 D still has some minor die varieties, such as repunch mint mark or subtle doubling that collectors track. From a variety standpoint, although the spectacular and very famous double die obverse error is associated primarily with the Philadelphia no mint mark 1955 penny, the Denver 1955 D version has its own varieties listed by certification services, for example, repunch mint mark D, or double die features of population and price guides. The survival estimate shows how many of the coins exist in high grades. For example, one auction record for an MS67 plus RD, regular strike, full red, 1955 D brought about $8,400 in August 2024. Surprisingly difficult to find in premium uncirculated grades due to quality issues during striking, with many coins showing nicks, scratches, and weak details. It's important for a collector or buyer to inspect the color and surface preservation. Has the coin turned brown, or is there original red copper tone left? The strike. Are the device's letters, date, mint mark, wheat stalk sharp or soft? A weaker strike or excessive will reduce value. 1955 D wheat cent sits in an era where the Lincoln wheat design was well established, 190958, and predates a changeover to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. The large mintage suggests its role as a workhorse circulation coin in mid to 0th century color and minimal where slash surface flaws. In terms of market behavior, the 1955 D benefits from being a complete set piece. Many collectors want that date and mint mark, and from the general popularity of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series. However, because the huge mintage means many exist, the premium is especially in high-grade condition and an original red color. As always, the numismatic market is influenced by condition, brand, grading service, variety, authenticity, and demand. Counterfeit or misrepresented coins in the market, especially coins claiming full red or rare uncirculated grades. Also die varieties, repunch mint mark, subtle doubling, must be authenticated, since fakes or altered coins may exist. One should carefully check the surface's color, strike, and provenance / certification. Because the mintage is large, genuine examples and typical grades are widely available, but true, gem, uncirculated full red coins are scarce and therefore more expensive, which makes them targets for forgery or mislabeling. Identification of a genuine 1955 D. You must see the D mint mark, confirming Denver. The design should match the Lincoln Wheat Cent design of that era. Correct bust of Lincoln, wheat stalks on the reverse. The weight, diameter, and composition should match the standard 3.11 G bronze coin. The date 1955 should appear with correct font and alignment. Some die varieties may show subtle anomalies. The color should fit the copper alder red, brown, or brown, depending on preservation. Good strike detail, especially in uncirculated examples, is a positive sign. Avoid coins with obvious wear, heavy scratching, cleaning marks, or unnatural color alterations. In terms of what to look for when buying or collecting, try to acquire the best color. You can preferably original red or red-brown rather than full brown. Check for sharpness of strike. Look at Lincoln's cheek, hair detail, wheat stalks on reverse. Examine for surface by itself. It may not reflect major design or composition changes compared to some other coins. It is part of the long-running Lincoln Wheat Cent tradition. Coins like this one circulated widely, saw everyday use, and today many survivors show wear from many hands and decades of commerce. The 1955 D thus embodies both the ordinary and the collectible. For a niche such as a YouTube channel about coins, which you indicated interest in, this coin offers good content. You can discuss the design, circulation history, condition challenges, what to look for, mint mark significance, color preservation, why a common mintage coin can still be collectible, and a contrast between everyday survivors and high-grade gem pieces. Some additional interesting points and anecdotes. While much of the popular fascination around 1955 penny focuses on the Philadelphia double die error, collectors of the 1955D version appreciate the availability of the coin for typeset or dated mint mark sets, yet also the possibility of upgrading to higher quality. Because so many were struck, many circulated in reach-worn condition, one must look up condition spectrum to appreciate why nice examples are increasingly hard to locate. In summary, the 1955D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a coin that bridges regular circulation usage and numismatic collecting. Its large mintage makes it accessible, but achieving a truly high-grade piece with full red color and minimal blemishes is challenging and rewarding. For any serious collector of U.S. cents, or for your purposes of telling the story on video, there's a rich story of design heritage, minting at the Denver facility, large numbers yet condition scarcity, color preservation, mint mark importance, grading and value dynamics, and collectors' behavior.